There is something about treasure hunting that I really enjoy and find intriguing and compelling, and especially when it's connected with Oregon history and I have a chance to learn more about our past. Hi there, Grant McComey here, your host for Travel Oregon's Grant's Getaways, and this week you're really going to dig Oregon history as we head to the Oregon coast and link up with some experts who will teach us much about Oregon history through the shipwrecks that have landed on our coastline. Come on along as we learn more about Oregon shipwrecks.
I think it's the fact that you're going after something that's been lost, you're digging, and I've always liked to dig stuff.
Rich Mulcahy says when the tide goes out,
An old nickel here.
his treasure table's set.
Good chance that that's a nail there. Pretty wild noise.
Rich walks long, lonely stretches of the Oregon coast each day.
Yeah, we got a penny this time.
The excited sounds of his detector a constant companion. He sweeps the sand and marks the spot
There's a target.
where something's hidden just below the surface.
It looks like an ignition key.
Most days he discovers everyday objects, but he's intrigued by rediscovering history in the sandy layers, back 30 to 50 years in the first few inches, and perhaps more than a century a foot below.
We'll go up there and see what we can find. So once you find a target at a certain place, if you follow a line parallel to the dune, you'll find coin after coin down there. It's kind of fun.
Many of his so-called targets are easily recognized coins and rings.
Some of my favorites that I dig here along the coast, these are the large silver coins, half dollars and silver dollars, and we find a lot of these when the conditions are right.
But every now and then he finds a real head-scratcher, like these Chinese
From 1736 to 1796.
and Roman coins that date back nearly 2,000 years.
With the number of shipwrecks we've had off our coast here, again, I'm sure there's material from those wrecks that have been brought in from the tide.
Parts of the Oregon coast are called the graveyard of the Pacific for good reason. As long as mariners have traveled the ocean, ships have wandered too close, been caught by powerful storms, or guided by poor judgment and ended in disaster on the beach.
It's a very dangerous environment. It's what mariners would call a lee shore. All the forces of nature are working against you. Everything's pushing you towards the beach, towards the rocks. There's also very few places to find refuge.
Some, like the always visible Peter Iredale, symbolize the worst that Mother Nature will do when things don't go as planned.
You see it out at Fort Stevens and they really want to know more about it and what happened, what's the story. The New Carissa, of course, is still in people's minds.
New Carissa is perhaps Oregon's most infamous shipwreck of the modern era. And more than 2 football fields long, she wrecked off the mouth of Coos Bay in 1999. Bad weather and a poor knowledge of Oregon's coastal dangers were the big reasons for the wreck.
Just not quite understanding what the weather is really like on the Oregon coast. And you could talk about it, but until they actually witness those winds and the waves, it's hard to believe. And the New Carissa, it's simply they just couldn't turn fast enough, and there's nothing happens fast on a ship that large. It's very slow, very gradual process.
What kind of stuff?
Well, things like this life ring or pieces of wood in the case of this Spanish block that we have here.
Jeff Smith is chief curator of the Columbia River Maritime Museum. He says more than 2,000 shipwrecks litter the mouth of the Columbia River, and the museum is a fine place to see the wreck relics, like a life ring from the 1800s, or blocks of beeswax from the 1700s.
Occasionally you get surprises though, like the carronades and the capstan from the schooner Shark.
2 small cannon from the U.S. Navy schooner called the Shark were rediscovered on the beach near Arch Cape in 2008. The Shark wrecked in 1846, but the cannons provided a powerful link with America's past. They've been in Texas the past 5 years, and their restoration is nearly done. Smith is proud to say they're coming back to Oregon soon.
We expect this spring, later this spring, they'll be coming back from the Conservation Lab. We're hoping to have them right here at the Columbia River Maritime Museum.
Still, for all we know about Oregon's shipwrecks, there's even more we don't know.
We haven't discovered all of those shipwrecks yet. They're out there, and it's just waiting to be revealed.
On the beach, Rich says that thought keeps him warm on cold winter days. It's not what he finds, but what he might find that keeps him coming back.
The anticipation The anticipation. If that thing could talk, what kind of a story would it tell? What are the circumstances that find it down here?
Rich has a couple of other things in mind you should consider before you head to the coast to try your hand at metal detecting. First of all, never turn your back to the ocean. It's simply unsafe. And also keep the weather forecast in mind, because this time of year you just never know. And third, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department manages metal detecting along the coast. There are very specific rules about shipwreck areas and known artifact areas that you need to know about as well. We have all the details, directions, and the contact information right here on the Travel Oregon website, so check it out. Until next week, get out here and explore the great Oregon outdoors, and let Travel Oregon be your guide. For Travel Oregon, I'm Grant McComie.